Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP. And I'm sitting in the forest and I have a tree trunk underneath me and I've already messed up because I think that it's eaten by different, insects and stuff. And so it's kind of crumbling underneath me. And then we've got a really good armrest tree trunk. Let me show you guys. So my hand is sitting in here in this low groove. So I can like have it there and then I can catch the camera. So yeah, this is how it's going. Um, Quite a good YouTuber spot, I guess. However, the light is kind of messy. But anyway, I wanted to talk about what I talked about in therapy, but I think that I'll leave that for my live that I'm filming this evening. This video will probably only come up next week from filming. But yeah, anyway, I did want to tell you guys that I saw a yellow butterfly that was really nice and a robin, and there are some cool birds around. And yeah, I'm playing with the bark underneath me because it's kind of fun to destroy the bark. Let me show you. Anyway, sorry, my hand is in the way. There's this like bark that you can like, it's really fragile and you can just like cut it up. So that's what I'm doing while you guys are not seeing. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, I will talk about my therapy in the live. We talked about values and stuff, and yeah, I'm a little bit confused about what my values are really, which is contradictory for an INFP, but you know. Anyway, we are going to be talking about Disney movies that affected me personally and how it relates, I think, to INFP-ness and being autistic. So, my first one was like when I was really small was Dumbo. I mean, it's not politically correct. A lot of these Disney movies, these classics, are not politically correct, but I really liked Dumbo, and it was so sad. And the mother of Dumbo is like, there's so much torture going on in that whole movie, and the mom singing "Baby Mine," and it's like they're poor Dumbo, has to deal with all this discrimination, and then obviously, as an autistic person, that I was going to fall for that, like, gosh, I already knew I was different, like, as a toddler, I guess. But, like, yeah, so Dumbo's ears are big and people laugh at him. And then because they live in a circus, the mother, like, they're forced into slavery, and yeah, it's terrible. It's really terrible. I got really sad at it, but I think that it's the kind of film that an INFP would like, an INFP kid, because it's like, oh, it's so tragic, and it's like Dumbo rises above it all, and the underdog wins, and it's just nice. Um, so that's Dumbo. Another one that I really liked was Robin Hood. It wasn't like, they neither of these had like big production costs, because they were kind of like in the middle, um, between different eras and stuff. But Robin Hood was one of my favorites, and I kind of had a crush on Maid Marian. Like, I guess that was my one and only celebrity crush was on Maid Marian, but she was just such a lovely character. And then Robin Hood, he could tease, but he was also really kind and good hearted. And that was also a really sad story, like there's this little mouse, like all they have is one coin, like, and he sleeps underneath, like he has this coin underneath his mattress, and that's like all he has. And it's such terrible poverty. And like they have, like he eats this one cookie, and this mouse, and it's like it's so emotionally compelling. So I understand that how as an INFP kid, and also I was like, Robin Hood steals from the rich to give to the poor. I also think that the villain was quite interesting in King John is like, he there's a sort of thing that he's supposed to be like really strong and everything, but he's actually just like really weak. And he has his snake companion as his his sidekick, and I just found it really fun and creative, and great music as well. So yeah, I really like that. I like that Robin Hood fights for the underdog once again. Another one that I liked was Pocahontas. Now, okay, yeah, it's not historically correct, and it's not liked. It's not liked by the Native American communities. But it I did not care for the all of the the love, the romance, and whatever. But I did like that Pocahontas was so close to nature, and I loved the songs, the colors of the wind, and all of that. And I really enjoyed, the animation was beautiful, and yeah, it was also like, okay, Pocahontas is getting colonized, and she's fighting against that. So I really liked, you know, that story. I also liked Mulan. Um, Once again, she has to mask. She has to mask to, and she's the underdog in the story, but she has to mask and uh, keep up the appearance. Also, I didn't know by then that I was gay, but I was, even as a kid. Um, and I don't know, there's something a little bit appealing about masculine woman, I guess, for me. Even as a kid, I guess, that I thought like, wow, that's so cool that she did this. So yeah, I think that it's queer girls, I guess, really are relate to Mulan. And then I really liked Sleeping Beauty. She's the first princess, I guess, out of these. I don't know if you could count Mulan and Pocahontas as princess, but this one is one of the traditional princesses. I liked Sleeping Beauty. I liked the fairies, that they couldn't decide what color her dress was going to be, and then they start. But this one is kind of funny. As an autistic kid, I remembered the scene of where one of the fairies is baking the cake for, the ball, the wedding or something. The ball, I think it's the ball, and um, she follows the instructions of the recipe really literally, which is like like fold in the eggs, and she literally puts the eggs and then folds the dough onto it. And I thought that that's what that meant. Like, I didn't know what folding in the eggs meant. But now I can see, like, wow, I was taking it really literally when I didn't know what that meant. And so I didn't really see anything wrong with her doing that, but now it's extra funny. But yeah, so I really liked Sleeping Beauty, in that she was just so graceful and everything. Also, like, there's the dragon, and it's like a traditional story. So that one maybe not because I was INFP or autistic or anything. I just liked it. Um, I was really scared when there was that spindle that was like hypnotizing her, and the music was like doom doom doom, and it was like really scary for me as a kid. And like Sleeping Beauty has like these really, like, she's entranced. Her eyes are like she's not in this world. Um, but yeah, so I really liked that one. Um, what other ones there? I liked the Jungle Book, but not as much as the others. I watched it again and again for some reason, but I don't think that I really enjoyed it as much as some of the others. Um, I barely remember it for the many times that I've watched it. I know Baloo was cool and fun, but I don't think that it was um, something I really connected to. I remember feeling that it was so stupid that Mowgli falls in love with a girl at the end. I'm like, that was so unnecessary. And, I didn't know, but that's kind of how I felt. Um, but yeah, I like the music, and, the Baloo and all that. Um, what else? I liked. Um, I didn't, because at that time you would have VHS tapes, and we didn't have all of the, I didn't watch really Bambi. I didn't really watch Lion King. It really depends on what you have at home. In that age, there wasn't, you know, you couldn't see every movie that you wanted to see. So I know that there was a friend of mine who really watched a lot of Lion King, but I didn't. So I only saw snippets here and there. Um, and he really watched Tarzan and was really into those, but I didn't watch them really. Um, until I got a little bit older, I guess, and got to, see these films at other people's houses or whatever. But I didn't see that one. I saw Alice in Wonderland. Now, that one is a really good one for INFPs and for autistic kids. Um, Essentially, Alice in Wonderland comes from a place with a different culture than, Wonderland. And in Wonderland, like, she gets to she doesn't understand the social norms of this new culture, and nothing makes sense. And it's kind of how I felt like the world was all the time. I felt like it was really scary for me, when the queen, she's really awful, and I felt like the world was so unpredictable and so scary as a kid. And so for me, I saw that reflected in Alice in Wonderland. And there were those cards, those guys who were painting the roses red. They were so scared of the queen, and I remember thinking, like, I related so much to them, and like I need to paint the roses red, even though it makes no sense. I have to go and do that. Um, and Alice, like, she ends up helping them too, because like she realizes that, okay, why not, Um, but yeah, it really scared me. And then I really like the song of the flowers. The flowers have a song of morning glory, and then but they are really nasty. The flowers are really nasty to Alice, and they say that she's a weed. And I didn't really know what a weed was, but I knew that was a bad thing. And so yeah, poor Alice gets like ostracized wherever she goes, which is really relatable, unfortunately for me. Even at preschool age, I watched this in preschool. I got told off actually in preschool, um, and that was the incident that told me to not talk to anybody else, which was basically that I never said anything at all, and then we were sitting in a circle in preschool. I must have been around 3 or 4, maybe at most. Yeah, 4 maybe. And we were sitting in a circle and we were supposed to wait for our turn to talk and stuff. But I was humming a little bit under my breath, and I was humming the Morning Glory song from Alice in Wonderland. I was doing it without even thinking about it. It wasn't like I didn't know that I was doing this out loud. And everybody stared at me, and because I think that mostly they were shocked that I, as the quiet kid, could make a sound, but that set me up for like a lifetime of social anxiety. Anyway, but I, yeah, I felt, you know, I felt like I was bullied even at that age. And so I kind of understood, how Alice must be feeling. But Alice was taking everything like in stride and stuff, which always, I kind of wanted to be as unaffected by things as Alice was. But yeah, somehow the world wouldn't let me, they would keep reminding me of how bad the things were. So yeah, I enjoyed Alice in Wonderland, but it really scared me in a way. Also, so the Cheshire Cat, I think, because he was making these jokes and I couldn't understand them, social aspects of all that. I really hated him. I really hated this guy, and yeah, I guess all this is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I liked watching it anyway. I watched it on repeat. Um, Also, these memories of remembering how um, my little autistic self was, my little me. Um, I remember I would the clock would be on the VCR, the VHS cassette machine, and so I would uh, put on a film, and uh, it was time to stop watching films when it was 7 o'clock or 19 on the display. Uh, I don't know why, but that was such a memory, and I actually did it. I was so disciplined, like, so I really did have a routine around this, and so I was like, okay, so I watched the film until it's 19, and then it's time for my parents to have the TV, and we eat dinner, and then I know that at 21 is time to be in bed, and I don't know, it's just funny to think like I really took this seriously. um, I guess that's why I was such a good kid. But yeah, so watching these movies was kind of a routine that I really liked, and so I'm trying to think if there's another Disney movie. I liked Peter Pan, um, obviously because of the imagination part of it, you know, and being an INFP, that was I did want to believe in fairies and all that. It was my world, and I did find it kind of annoying that Wendy was like so responsible and that Peter was so irresponsible. Like I I didn't like either of them. um, so I didn't find like the characters likable. Um, and Tinkerbell was so mean, and I don't know. So I didn't like the characters, but I really liked like the world that was built. I mean, obviously, it's not politically correct in any way towards Native Americans again. But I did like Tiger Lily because she was like she had such dignity, and even though she was like kidnapped and stuff. Um, yeah, I think the only good character in there was Hook. I really liked. Uh, I mean, of course, he was also that kind of villain character that he was like, he's like, "Ah, I'm so mean," and then he's like actually just a baby inside, and I think I liked that. And yes, obviously the crocodile and all that. Um, and let me see if I can think of any others. I mean, I didn't really watch Cinderella or Ariel. Um, what others that I watch? Um, oh, I watched like really weird ones. Like we had Oliver and Company and the Aristocats. I mean, I like cats, so that's why I guess. Um, the Aristocats really, I just liked that they were all cats, and they made music as well. They played music and you know were cool cats. It was a little bit like a Lady and the Tramp story, but uh, you know, in cat form rather than in dog form. Um, so yeah, I liked it, but I don't know. Oliver and Company hits me more for some reason, and it was a little bit like Oliver is a cat. He's a small cat that's orange, and then like he gets picked up by all of these dogs, and he has to kind of survive in the city, and you know he feels really fragile, and that you know he he gains confidence throughout the movie, and I really wanted like a gang of people to like pick me up and help me through life. Um, so I think that I related a little bit to Oliver. I really wished I had like a group of people on my side, because the world was really scary. Um, yeah, I don't know why I got so. I guess that's because, I mean, when you have the VHS, then you might as well watch it many times. You know, kids do that nowadays too, watch things many times. But then it was like you had no variety because that's what you had, you know. So that's for the Disney movies. I don't think I really watched any other movies with such a dedication as those that I talked about. Um, Obviously, later on, there came like the Pixar and all that, but I'm holding myself to the Disney classics in this video. You know, I really like Tangled as well, which came later, but that's another genre, I guess. And Tangled, you know, I kind of relate to Rapunzel, and that's like, you know, being a homebody and then like doing the same thing all the time. And then it's like, I want to live in my life, you know, and it's like you're never leaving the tower, and you're just, you never start your life really because you're like scared of the outside because you don't know anything about the outside, and the uncertainty is scary. um, I think, but there's this excitement as well of learning about things in the world, and she's so naive and such. So really, I relate to her. I think that she's maybe like an ENFP or something. But yeah, so that's as far as I'm going to go about this topic. Maybe I'll make another video with like the more recent Pixar or the more recent Disney, but those came, you know, afterwards. They did not come when I was like a child, you know, in my childhood. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. What were your favorite Disney movies or other movies, I guess? Um, I really enjoyed those as a child, but maybe you didn't like those. Maybe you like something completely different. Um, so tell me what you guys think. Bye.